The certified letter scraped under my cabin door like a claw in the pre-dawn chill, its blood-red wax seal glinting under my flickering porch light like a bad omen. Ow. My hands shook as I ripped it open, reading the Pine Hollow HOAS ultimatum. Vacate your illegal structure within 48 hours or face criminal trespass charges and seizure. I'm Ethan Cole, 42, a widowed mechanic who poured every cent of my late wife Maria's life insurance into this Vermont hillside cabin to give my daughter Lily, 10, a place to heal after cancer tore our family apart. Eleanor Voss, the HOA president, stood across the gravel drive in her black Mercedes. Her cold smile sharper than the November wind, her lavender perfume choking the crisp lake air. She'd been terrorizing Pine Hollow for months, finding kids for chalk drawings, bullying widows into selling their homes cheap, her clipboard a scepter of control. Little did she know, the eerie carving's eye, found under my floorboards, hid a 1927 deed that proved her entire subdivision was built on stolen land, and a secret so dark it would unravel her world in ways she'd never recover from. What would you do if a neighbor tried to erase your family's future? Drop your story below and tell me where you're watching from. HOA nightmares bind us all. 6 months ago, I moved Lily to this sagging 1920s cabin by Willow Lake. Its creaky floors and whistling windows a far cry from our old city apartment filled with hospital memories. The lake's mist carried cedar and hope, and we spent weekends hammering nails. Lily's laughter mixing with sawdust as she painted a blue birdhouse for Maria's favorite sparrows. Neighbors waved at first, their McMansions gleaming across the meadow. But the air shifted when Eleanor's SUV rolled up, kicking dust like an invasion. Mid-50s, with hair pulled tight and eyes that cut like glass, she handed me a $600 fine for the birdhouse, claiming it violated Covenant 17B. Your rustic aesthetic threatens our property values, she purred, her voice sweet poison. I showed her my grandfather's 1942 deed, proving the land predated her HOA. But she waved it away. Pay within 72 hours, or we escalate. Escalate, she did. Citations piled up like dead leaves. $400 for unapproved mailbox paint, $900 for construction noise my hammer at noon, $1,200 for wildflowers Lily planted in Maria's memory. My savings bled out, fines hitting $8,500, and Lily stopped sleeping, whispering about the lady in the trees, her green eyes wide with fear. Anger burned in my chest, not just at Eleanor, but at myself for believing this place could be home. Neighbors shunned us, their kids calling Lily's cabin a shack. And I overheard whispers about Eleanor's power, her cousin, the sheriff, her husband, a zoning board kingpin. Nights grew worse, strange scratching sounds echoing under the floor, like something heavy dragging itself through the dark. One midnight, Lily screamed, pointing at claw marks gouged into our porch, deep and jagged, reeking of sour earth, not animal, but deliberate, almost ritualistic. My stomach twisted as I called Sheriff Voss, Eleanor's cousin, who smirked. Kids playing pranks. Ethan, his badge glinting like a warning. The HOA meeting was a circus of fear, Eleanor at the podium, her PowerPoint flashing my cabin like a crime scene, calling me a drifter, endangering property values. Neighbors nodded, hypnotized, as she demanded my eviction, her eyes locking on mine with a glint that felt wrong, like she wasn't just greedy, but guarding something unholy. Rage gave way to dread as I pried up attic floorboards that night, chasing the scratching, and found a wooden box carved with spirals that seemed to writhe under my flashlight.
Sidewise.
Inside was a 1927 deed, in Amos Reed's journal. His words chilling. The covenant hides the hollow one's rights. They meet at the hollow tree. They kill to keep it secret. My pulse hammered. Eleanor's mansion sat on that tree's exact spot. The deed proved my land was exempt from her HOA, but Amos's warnings of rituals and disappearances turned my anger to horror. Was Lily in danger from more than fines? I installed cameras, their red lights blinking like eyes, and carved Amos's symbols into the foundation, praying they'd protect us. The next night, cameras caught Eleanor creeping through my yard, her face twisted, smearing something dark blood. On the porch, chanting in a voice that made my ears ache. Lily clung to me, trembling as I dialed 911, but Deputy Voss ignored the evidence, muttering about raccoons. The eviction notice came next, claiming my cabin was illegal, and I called Sarah Miles, a real estate lawyer with a nose for HOA scams. Her office smelled of coffee and fight as she studied the deed. "This is bulletproof, Ethan. Eleanor's forging documents and stealing $1.1 million in HOA fees. We filed an injunction, but Eleanor escalated, her silhouette circling our cabin at midnight. The scratching louder, symbols glowing faintly on our windows. My heart raced. Lily wasn't safe, and neither was I. Sarah suggested a trap. Expose Eleanor at the community meeting, cameras rolling, feds ready. We dug through county records, the musty archive air thick with secrets, uncovering Pine Hollow's history of vanishings, all tied to the hollow tree. Neighbors slipped me notes, terrified of Eleanor's threats fines that forced sales, midnight visits that left them shaking. The meeting loomed, and I felt Maria's absence like a weight, but Lily's small hand in mine gave me strength. Friday night, the Pine Hollow Community Center buzzed. 80 neighbors packed in, the air heavy with sweat and old carpet. Eleanor stood tall, her slides accusing me of vandalism, occult crimes, her voice silk over steel. She called for my arrest, claiming I threatened kids. I rose, clutching Amos's box, my voice steady, despite the fear clawing my gut. "I'm Ethan Cole, and Eleanor Voss is a fraud." I showed the 1927 deed Amos's journal, warning of the hollow one, and played footage of Eleanor's blood-smeared ritual. The crowd gasped, some crying as I revealed her $1.1 million theft. "Your tenants on my land?" I said, holding up the deed. Eleanor screamed, lunging for the box, but federal agents stormed in, cuffs snapping on her wrists for fraud, extortion, and conspiracy. Her wail echoed, "You'll pay for this," as they dragged her out, lavender fading into defeat. 3 months later, I sat on my porch, Lily sketching sparrows, her laughter brighter than the lake's sunset. Eleanor got 7 years, her scam exposed, the HOA dissolved, neighbors rebuilt, sharing tools and potlucks, Mrs. Callahan's petunias blooming free. We started the Amos Reed Justice Fund, fighting HOA corruption nationwide. And Lily's smile, fearless now, was my triumph. The lake breeze carried Maria's warmth, and I knew we'd won more than land, we'd won hope. Drop your HOA horbalolets, keep exposing tyrants. Subscribe for more stories of ordinary folks beating corrupt systems, and hit the bell for next week's tale of a vet toppling a shady council. Thanks for watching HOA Stories, where truth always rises.